Good morning, everyone. I am Gouri, Assistant Professor, Department of Applied Science and Humanities, Haldia Institute of Technology. Today, I am going to give a video lecture on business letter writing. Even in the present age of electronic communications, letters continue to be a fundamental means of business communication. Good letters not only convey information, actions, and decisions, they also define the personal style of the sender and present an image of the sender's organization. Business letter, this is a form of written communication in the context of business transactions between individual, business personnel, or between business organizations. What are the functions of business letter? That means why do we need to write business letter? First, we can say to strengthen rapport between organizations. Second one, we can say to keep permanent records. We need to write business letter. A business letter acts as a permanent record which can be referred to when needed. It is not possible for a businessman to remember all the transactions and happenings of the day. So, this is an essential means of communication to maintain a written record. Third, we can say promotion or business. So, business personnel they can promote their business to another company through the business letter writing for promotion or business. And in the current scenario of business in the modern world, production is done on the large scale and in anticipation of demand. So, in any organization, letters are written at all the stages of production, administration, and distribution. All activities performed through the medium of letters result in promoting business. Next one, creation of goodwill. A good letter can open new channels of business and hence get better results from the customers. So it is a very important tool of communication in the business industry. Then the collection of overdues. Business letters help in collecting the overdues whenever a credit facility is given to the customer. So he or she or they are supposed to pay the necessary amount within the period of credit. And if the amount is not received within the stipulated period of time, so the letters are drafted very carefully in order to ensure that the ego of the customer is not hurt. Next, avoiding misunderstandings. Okay, so business letters are useful in writing the complaints and avoiding misunderstandings. When business transaction takes place between two or more people, there is every possibility of complaint or misunderstanding. So letters can serve two purposes in this case. One is to send letters stating complaints to traders or suppliers, and the other is to send adjustment letters to customers. Last, we can say business letters can be used as legal evidence. Business letters have the legal importance. A letter which is properly written, properly signed by the writer with proper date is considered as legal evidence in the court of law. So, whenever dispute arises between the parties, the court has to decide the matter where business letter becomes a documentary proof. So, these are the functions of business letter. Now, in my next slide, I am going to share why a business letter, that means how a business letter is written. A business letter must have some elements which are important while we draft the letter. So a business letter must be written in proper form and the proper format, which is very important. It must be short and concise, relevant and precise. Important, relevant information must be incorporated while drafting the business letter. It must be precise. Briefly, we have to convey our information, free from grammatical or spelling errors, polite in tone. Whether this is a complaint letter or any adjustment letter, always our tone of the business letter must be polite, expressive of warmth and consideration. We have to always think of our readers' orientation. We think of our customers. We think of our customers and the other organizations for whom we are writing business letters. Now, this is the format. First, I am showing the block layout format of business letter, and these are the elements. First, standard elements which are important to write a business letter. First, we have to start a business letter with the sender's address. It can be said heading. It can be called the letterhead. So it includes the organization's name, full address, telephone number, fax number, email address, website, etc. And for the letterhead, this can be written, this must be written at the top middle portion of the page. Otherwise, in handwritten, we have to write the sender's address left side. For full block layout format, we have to write the sender's address left side, top left corner of an A4 size paper. After writing the sender's address, reference is very important for any kind of business transaction. So it includes a reference line to identify a file or case number or any other internal identifying information if any company requires one. So some companies have specific reference codes. Accordingly, we have to write the reference number. The reference number of this letter. So there is one example is given here, like ref.hit/18/ then the year, then the letter number. This way we can write the reference number. After the date, which is very important. So date is written in two styles, just below the reference number. First one is following the British method using ordinal numbers, the way it is given here, 28th August, 2018. And the second one, the American method using the cardinal numbers, 20, only digit is there, 20 August 2018 or August 20, 2018. So my preference is to follow using this cardinal number, the second one, 20 August 2018 or August first month, then date, then comma, then year. This is the format of writing date in a business letter. After that, the fourth element of business letter is the inside address. It includes the name and address of the firm or the individual to whom the letter is written. Then the receiver's address. Inside address means here receiver's address. So we can use courtesy titles before their name is Mr. Professor, General, etc., etc. And the address can also begin with the job title or the department, the sales manager, the HR manager, the accounts department. And the to is optional. If we want, then we can use to the HR manager. Otherwise, directly we can address the sales manager or the accounts department, etc. After the inside address, next important element of the business letter is subject. And the subject must be very short. Within 6 to 7 words, we have to complete the subject line. After writing the subject, salutation. This is the compliment or greeting. And to address a person by name or the designation, we can say dear sir, dear madam. And if we know the person's name, directly we can address, checking the name of the person, dear Mr. John, etc. And this is written 2 spaces below the inside address. Salutation must be written 2 spaces below the inside address and the 2 lines above the body of the letter. Next, in the body of the letter, it begins 2 spaces below the salutation, and normally the body of the letter is divided into 3 stanzas or 3 paragraphs. First opening paragraph, second middle paragraph, closing paragraph. So in the opening paragraph, we have to state why we are drafting or why we are writing this business letter, reference number, date, what is the complaint, etc., etc., but politely. In the middle paragraph, we have to elaborate. This is the continuation of the first paragraph, elaboration of the problem or any complaints, etc., details of the letter. And in the closing paragraph, there what we want, what we need actually from any other company, and that must be written in polite tone. We always be humble while write a business letter. And there must be 2 spaces, I mean double spaces between each and every paragraph. Next, complimentary clause. After finishing the body of the letter, complimentary clause, regards sincerely yours. The term is used. This is called complimentary clause. This is written 2 spaces below the last line of the body of the letter. And here is a list of expression we can use: cordially yours, truly yours, yours sincerely, regards, etc., etc. After finishing complimentary clause, now next element is signature block, and this is written double space below the complimentary clause. First comes full signature. It must be pen written if we get the printout copy of our letter, so we have to put our full signature. Then secondly, we have to type our name, and third, our business title. This is the format of writing: our signature, name, and our business title. And this is called signature block. Okay. Apart from this, some other elements also are there which which can be used while drafting a business letter. This is called additional elements. So first one is addressee notation. So it appears a double space above the inside address in capital letters. Whether the letter is confidential, personal, if we want to forward this letter to someone else, so that is written. This is called addressee notation. So it appears double space above the inside address and it must be written in capital letters. Inside address means receiver's address. Double spaces above the receiver's address, that addressee notation is written. According to our requirement, we can write confidential or personal or please forward, etc. After that attention line, it appears 2 spaces below the inside address, that means the receiver's address, and written in bold and capital letters. So sample is given there, attention, then colon, then we can put the person's name or the department if we want to highlight a particular person or particular unit or the department, that we can mention this way: attention, colon, then the person's name or the department's name. After the reference initial, it appears 2 spaces below the last line of signature block. Reference initials means who helps us to write this business letter, who can type or who will type the business letter or letter. So his or her name is written here in the reference initial. After that, enclosure notation. So with the letter, if we want to add some documents, so that we can write or that we can include like this: ENCL enclosure, then dot colon, what the documents we want to include, that we have to write here. In copy notation, this is the optional component. Copy notation means the letter must be sent to some persons. If you want to send this letter to the receiver as well as other persons, so there name, department is written there. Then the mailing notation, it is placed either at the bottom of the letter or top of the letter above the inside address. Okay, that means how this letter is sent, by registered post, by speed post, etc. Postscript. Postscripts means that if any important information is left, so in the postscript section, we can mention that the important information which is not written while writing this business letter, but we suggest that if that kind of mistake happens, so it's better to write a fresh letter instead of include that the important information in postscript. So it is included 2 spaces below the last text on the page, and this is written as p dot s dot, and after that the information is written there, but it's better to avoid this. And there is a sample of business letter. First, using the letterhead, this is called heading, then the date, then the mailing notation, addressing notation, this is personal letter. After that, the inside address, that means the receiver's address. 2 is optional. Attention line, attention. After that, salutation, subject line, then the body of the letter. After that, complimentary clause, signature block, reference initials, enclosure line, copy, notation on the copy line, postscript, etc., etc. This is the sample of a business letter. Now, while to write the business letter, what must be avoided? We have to avoid contractions, short form, don't, didn't, shouldn't, etc. It's better to write do not, did not, should not, shall not, etc. And idioms must be avoided, phrasal verbs that must be avoided, and some imperatives saying the letter. So we can say, we can say that you are requested to send the letter, etc. So we have to avoid these constructions, idioms, phrasal verbs, and imperatives. Now, while write the business letter, we have to follow 7 C's of communication. First one is completeness. So the letter should not lack its purpose. Provide all necessary information. Order should not only mention quantity but also size, price, packaging, delivery, way of transport, etc., etc., way of payment, payment method, everything. So the complete message must be there while write the business letter, and it must be brief. So the second C is conciseness, be to the point, avoid unnecessary repetitions, and include only relevant material. Now consideration, third C is consideration, focus on you instead of I attitude or we attitude. So always we have to think of our reader's orientation. Next one is concreteness, use specific facts, figures which are important related to the document, related to the letter. So this is concreteness, concrete information must be stated. Now fifth C is clarity. Clarity, choose precise, concrete, and familiar words. Avoid some tough words. Lucid and appealing words must be chosen. Construct effective sentences and paragraphs. Readers should understand the matter in first reading. Now, number 6 is courtesy. Whether writing a complaint or a concern, be sincere, thoughtful, appreciative, courteous, and respectful. Whether this is a complaint letter, but we must be humble while mention our problem. Correctness, the last C is correctness. Use right level of language. Double check the facts, figures, dates, price, spelling, grammar, etc. And then maintain acceptable writing mechanics. So these are the 7 C's. While we draft any kind of business letter, we must follow these 7 C's. Now, how we can show this you attitude? There are some samples given here. So first one is, we are glad we can now send our book on communication skills. So in modified version, we can write this way. You would be glad to know that the new edition of communication skills will be sent to you shortly. Another second example is given here. We are happy to receive your request. Instead, of this, we have to write thank you for your request. Third example I have given here, as you do not have current account in our bank, we cannot process your request. So instead of writing this, we can modify this. Please open a current account in your bank so that we are able to process your request. Clarity and conciseness. How can we incorporate clarity and conciseness while we write a business letter? So the first example, there are 27 words are there. So it should be clear to everyone that there should be no doubt the fact that the company would never be the one that encourages incompetence and lethargy. So we can concise this message writing this, the company does not encourage incompetence and lethargy. So these are some samples how we can concise our message, briefly we can write. Now some phrases are there, we can word expressions are there, so we can make it briefly, we can write in concise version. As a matter of fact, that can be written in fact, in spite of the fact that we can use although, though, at the present time, now, currently, for the purpose of, we can write as for, have the ability to, it can be written as can or be able to, at all times. Of course, we can write it as always, in order to, by means of, by, in the final analysis, finally, etc., etc. Next, some unpleasant words we have to avoid while write business letter. Elderly, instead of elderly, we have to write senior citizen. Second hand car, then that can be modified as resale car. Cheap goods, that can be written as inexpensive goods. Servant, domestic help, dull, slow learner, disabled, differently able, etc. Now, how can we be courteous and considerate? Original version, you have paid no attention to our complaint. So that can be revised as kindly look into our complaint. Second example, as I have been suffering from fever, I deserve sick leave. Instead of writing this, we can revise this to make it more considerable. Please grant me leave for the aforementioned period. Will you please call me for interview? Instead of this sentence, we can write, may I have an appointment for interview? Okay, next, we should not blame the reader. There is one example is given here. Avoid being negative. A good message loses its impact because the tone and verbal structure employed by the writer is negative. So be positive all the time. One example is given here. None of your checks have been received by us. So instead of writing this, we can modify this. We are yet to receive the payment for the computer sent to you. Use the active and passive voice. So active voice is needed when message is to be direct, clear and precise. And the passive voice is important when action is more important than agent. Some examples are given here. You have not informed me. That can be revised as I have not been informed. The manager announced that DA will be enhanced from the next financial year. So that can be revised this way. It was announced that the DA will be enhanced from the next financial year. Now, types of the business letter: inquiry letter, order letter, refusal, acceptance, quotation, follow-up letter, complaint, claim or adjustment, settlement, collection, sales letter, etc., etc. These are the types of business letters. So how we can write inquiry letter? First of all, state clearly and precisely what information is needed, then ask about the time period if it is there, then seek clarification regarding the mode of payment, etc. An inquiry letter is of two types. One is solicited inquiry letter and the second one is unsolicited inquiry letter. Solicited means when Information is there, source is there, and according to the source, whenever we drop the letter, this is called inquiry. And unsolicited means writer's own will, no source is available there. The writer's own will, if he or she drafts the letter, this is called unsolicited inquiry letter. Next one is order letter. So that an accurate and full description of the goods must be mentioned. Quantities of the goods, specification of the goods, order details regarding delivery and the mode of payment. Now, sales letter, which is very important, and we have to follow AIDA formula. A means attention, I means interest, D means desire, and last A means action. So catch the reader's attention first while drop the sales letter. Next one, create interest of the reader. Then the create a desire in the reader. Last one is motivate the reader to take action. Claim letter, we can write this way: explain the problem clearly and precisely with specific details, refer to the order number to avoid ambiguity in communication, state clearly as to what action is required or what adjustment is expected, appeal to the supplier's reputation and sense of responsibility and fairness. Adjustment letter, just the response to the claim or the complaint letter. This is adjustment letter. Acknowledge the complaint immediately, handling complaints with consideration, express regret and promise to rectify the error. Then the thank you the customer for bringing the matter, etc. Now there are some words and the phrases there which are used in general English and that can be used in business English. Talk about this. We can use is as discussed: got, received, make sure, ensure, need, require, tell why, explain, let me know, inform, etc. etc. More examples are given here. So one or two I have to read. I want to talk to you about the project. Instead of, we have to write, I would like to discuss the project with you. Informal sentence, I'll get in touch soon. Instead of informal tone, we have to write, I will contact you shortly, etc. So thank you very much.